From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, October the 28th, 2019. Israel police reported an attempted stabbing attack in Jerusalem's Old City this afternoon. The incident took place at Herod's Gate, where a 16-year-old Arab resident of East Jerusalem tried to stab Israeli border police officers and then fled the scene. He was chased by police who opened fire, injuring him in the hand. He was ultimately apprehended and taken to the hospital. 2 others were also arrested in connection with the terror attempt. Blue and White Party leader Benny Gantz met yesterday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the first time the two sat down since Gantz received the mandate last week from Israel's President Reuven Rivlin to form a coalition. While no real progress was reported, both sides agreed to meet again soon. Gantz told reporters, "I finished a business-like meeting with the Prime Minister. I can inform you that I'll continue with all efforts to form a unity government and to prevent third elections for the State of Israel." Earlier in the day, negotiating teams from Blue and White and from Likud held their own meeting, with Blue and White reportedly saying that Likud was sticking firm to its insistence of only being willing to join a unity government together with its bloc of right-wing religious parties. Likud's lead negotiator, Yariv Levin, meanwhile, said that Blue and White was refusing Rivlin's unity proposal of a rotating premiership with Netanyahu serving first. And the Prime Minister met today with U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and with White House Senior Advisor Jared Kushner. The two are leading a delegation to the Middle East geared towards promoting economic ties and counter-terrorism initiatives. Netanyahu and Mnuchin addressed threats from Iran in particular in their press conference today, with Netanyahu praising U.S. sanctions against the Islamic Republic, whom he called the single greatest threat to stability in the Middle East.
Iran is seeking to develop now precision-guided missiles that can hit any target in the Middle East with a circumference of 5 to 10 meters. They're developing this in Iran. They want to place them in Iraq and in Syria, and to convert Lebanon's arsenal of 130,000 statistical rockets to precision-guided munitions. They seek also to develop that, and have already begun to put that in Yemen, with the goal of reaching Israel from there too.
Mnuchin said the U.S. would continue its pressure.
We have a shared view as to the threats that Iran poses to the region and to the world. We have executed on a maximum pressure campaign for sanctions. They have worked, they are working, they are cutting off the money. We are not doing this to hurt the people of Iran. We are doing this so that Iran stops their bad activities in exporting terrorism, looking to create nuclear capabilities and missiles. And we will continue to ramp up more.
Kushner later met with Blue and White leaders Gantz and Yair Lapid, where, according to the U.S. Embassy, they discussed the strong relationship and unbreakable alliance between the United States and Israel and the ongoing developments in the Middle East. Democratic candidate Amy Klobuchar is the latest presidential hopeful to be asked to condition aid to Israel on Israel's stopping its settlement building, something she indicated she would be opposed to. During an interview at the annual conference of the far-left Jewish organization J Street in Washington, when Klobuchar was pressed on the issue of aid, she responded that it was not a good idea to negotiate these things in public. Later, noting the recent U.S. withdrawal from Syria, which she said made the region more dangerous for Israel.
But I just think allowing Iran to have a foothold in Syria, I will say this again, with Russia, does not make Israel any safer. And that is why I am so wedded right now to make sure that we are continuing the aid.
At the same time, Klobuchar did express her opposition to a number of policies of Prime Minister Netanyahu, including his campaign promise to annex parts of the West Bank. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak addressed the conference today as well, calling for a democratic Zionist Jewish state and a commitment to a two-state solution, urging the restart of peace talks with the Palestinians. And the Jerusalem Post reports that at the opening of the J Street conference last night, its president, Jeremy Ben-Ami, called on candidates to reverse policies of the Trump administration that have favored Israel over the Palestinians and announced that the organization's student wing, J Street U, launched a campaign asking the Democratic Party to add to its platform a call on Israel to end the quote-unquote occupation. A synagogue in Connecticut was safely evacuated Friday after it received 2 bomb threats. Police were called to Congregation B'nai Israel in Bridgeport Friday afternoon after it received the 2 threatening phone calls. No threat was found. The Hartford Courant reports that the calls were traced to a man in Florida with a history of mental health issues who has made similar calls in the past. Well, Jews, Christians, Muslims, city and state officials, and the families of the 11 people murdered 1 year ago at the Tree of Life Synagogue attended an official memorial ceremony yesterday at Pittsburgh's Soldier and Sailors Memorial Hall to mark the first anniversary of the deadly shooting. Family members lit candles in memory of their loved ones. The congregation's rabbis, including Jeffrey Myers, led prayers, with Myers saying that the love that continues to pour in from across the world gives him hope. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported that thousands of people also made their way to the synagogue site yesterday, which remains closed, to remember those lost. Israel's Consul General in New York, Danny Dayan, was also in Pittsburgh for the commemorative events. He met with first responders, whom he thanked for their service. The Pittsburgh Steelers, by the way, will ask fans to stand for a moment of silence at tonight's game in memory and honor of the victims and their families. Belgium welcomed its first Jewish prime minister. Sophie Wilms is the first Jewish person and the first woman to lead the country. The centrist replaced Charles Michel yesterday. Wilms' mother is Jewish. And we close with a lovely story from inside the JBS family. Last night was a wonderful simcha for the Maidenbaum family. Iris and Shalom Maidenbaum's daughter, Lana Gittel, was married to J.J. Teller, the son of Rabbi and Mrs. Hanoch Teller. It was a truly beautiful wedding and celebration filled with joy and gladness. And all of us at JBS wish Lana and JJ a life of blessing and happiness. And we send our warmest congratulations to the entire Teller family and a special mazal tov to Iris and Shalom Maidenbaum. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, October the 28th at 7 o'clock. It's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth. At 7:30, Israeli film director Eran Riklis discusses his new thriller, Spider in the Web, which tells of an aging spy on one last mission. That's with Eric Goldman on Jewish Cinematheque. At 8, Mati Friedman and Michal Biton discuss the secret role of Mizrahi spies. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Dan Raviv, who talks about his book, Spies Against Armageddon. And at 10, French intellectual Bernard-Henri Lévy speaks at the 92nd Street Y. And coming up right after this newscast, it's ILTV's Good Week, Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, October the 28th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader.